Hello all, welcome back to Knowledge Base. Today we'll see working with Azure Storage and try to create a small web application, and we'll try to push some objects from web application to Azure Storage. Let's get started. Today our agenda is just try to create a storage account, and within that storage account we'll just try to create a container. And once the container is done, so we'll just go and start create a small web application, and we'll try to push some objects from there. Who am I? My name is Dheeraj Kumar and I'm a mobile application developer, and having a 10 years of experience in Microsoft technologies and 4 years in mobile application development using Xamarin. So you can just go through my blog, www.guntidheerajkumar.com, where you can just see multiple posts on different articles in .NET and even in mobile. So what is Azure Storage? Basically, Azure Storage is a cloud service solution. It's a cloud storage solution where it is basically used for durability, availability, scalability to meet the needs of their customers. So when you're just trying to have some specific infrastructure, so rather than we maintaining that, we have a specific solution which is more scalable, more durable, and highly available storage, where we can just go and store our data. Basically, Azure Storage is completely elastic, and we have 4 different services within Azure Storage. One is blob, one is table, queue, and file storage. So what is blob storage? Where we within blob storage we'll store basically unstructured data. I'm sorry. So either it could be a text file or a binary format file or a document, or a audio or a video, any kind of file which we call it as an unstructured object. So and the other one is table storage. We deal with data sets here. So the data stored in this particular table storage is in key value format, so where we can just store large quantities of data. And the queue storage is basically used for messaging purpose, where we can just deal with workflow processing. And file storage is basically a shared storage, which in turn deals with a lot of legacy applications. So let's just start with creating an Azure storage account. So open manage.windowsazure.com, open with your Hotmail, Outlook, or Live ID, or else with your corporate ID, and just click on new and just choose data services and choose storage. Just click on quick create, and I'm just trying to create a small storage account. Here we need to take care of one thing, that whatever the name that we specify should be in small letters. And choose a location and just click on create storage account. Azure will create a storage account for us. Just it creates in a minute. So here we see our Azure storage account has been created. Just tap on the name, so you see the complete dashboard of that particular storage account. Within that we need to go for containers. So here we need to create one particular container. So if I'm having one specific storage account, I'll be having a container which is a which is a primary set. Within that, whatever the blobs that we create, or whatever the table objects that we create, or whatever the queue objects that we create, will be stored in that particular container. I can have multiple containers within my storage account. Just click on create container, specify the container name. So here the same rule applies. The name should be in small letters. So let's take sample container, or else just make it meaningful. So we'll make it percent data, and we need to choose the access level as a public container, so that we can just have an access of this particular container where we can just push some objects from any client application. So here you see that our container has been created. So this would be the endpoint URL. So we'll just go back to the dashboard, and if you just see our storage account, where for that particular storage account we'll be having certain keys. So one is the storage account name, and we have a primary key and a secondary key. So these two are access keys, where we just use these particular access keys in order to identify this particular storage account, and we'll just use it in our client application. So let's just go back to our Visual Studio. We'll try to create a new web application. So I'm just trying to create a core web application using .NET Framework. Sample Azure storage, and just click on OK. Choose web application. Within no time, Visual Studio will create our project. So whatever the container that we have talked about a bit before, we can just create the container even from the code side, even using the portal. So you have an option where either you can just choose directly from a code, or you can just even choose from portal for creating a container. So depending upon the requirement, we can just make sure like how the container should be created. So in this example, we have created the container through the portal. So now our structure got created. So for accessing storage account or Azure storage, we need to include one specific Nougat package. So we'll just try to include that Nougat package. Just right click on the project. So manage Nougat packages. We'll just try to browse. So we'll make it Azure storage. So here we see Windows Azure storage. So we'll just install this particular Nougat package. So it installs all the necessary libraries which are required to communicate with Windows Azure. So I think our package has got completely installed. So we'll just go to home controller. So here we'll start with declaration of certain elements. Prior to that, we'll just include all the related namespaces where we are just trying to use all those things in our application. So we'll just go with Microsoft Windows Azure storage is one thing. The other one is blob, and the other one is auth. So these are the three different namespaces that we are going to include in our application. So now we are trying to create certain properties. So we are just trying to include certain classes here. So one is storage credentials is one thing where we'll just specify the storage account information here. The other one is cloud storage account where it deals with the complete storage account. And we are trying to have one more as we are trying to deal with now with blobs, so we are just going to create one object for blob client. And as we have the primary set as a container, so we need to have a container object also, so we are trying to deal with the blob container. And so these are the four different elements that we are trying to deal with. And for core application specific, I'm going to have one hosting environment object, so where I'm just trying to deal with environment variables. So let's just resolve this. Fine, so we got all the necessary objects created. So we'll just try to have one specific constructor here. So this constructor is going to take hosting environment as the object. So I'm trying to inject hosting environment to this particular controller. And after that we are trying to deal with as we just created the objects, so we need to instantiate those particular objects here. So we'll start with storage credentials first. Storage credentials, and we are trying to instantiate that. So it has two parameters. One is the account name and the other one is the key value. So we get these particular information from here. So the storage account name, I'm just trying to copying that particular information, and the primary access key. So we got this information, and now we create the object for cloud storage account. So it takes the storage credentials and whether we want to go with an HTTPS or not. So I'm just making it as an HTTPS, and we are going to create a blob object also. So cloud storage account dot cloud storage account dot create blob client, so which actually creates a blob client. And we have one more thing, blob container. So cloud blob client dot get container reference, and it actually takes the container name. So here we are just passing the container name, so we'll get the container name from here. So just go here, containers. So this is my container name, person data. So we have just instantiated all the specific objects necessary for performing this operation. So now here in this sample application, we are just trying to create one specific UI where it actually displays all the list of blobs within my container, and we are trying to have an upload control which actually uploads a specific file from my local system to Azure cloud. So for that, we are just trying to create a small method where it actually gets the list of all the blobs. So I'm just going to create a private method, get all blobs. So I'm just storing that in a view bag, so that I just want to show that particular information in my UI. So as this is a sample, I'm just trying to create certain random things. So based on your requirement, you can just go with certain class objects where we can just refine the UI specifically for your requirement. So we are just going to use blob container dot list blobs, and I'm just trying to cast that particular thing to a list. So it actually gives me all the blobs which are under that particular container. So, and I'm just even want to show that name of my container. So I'm just using one more view bag. So container name. So let's name cloud container dot name. So it actually displays a container name, and after that I just want to call this get all blobs. So we'll just hold here and we'll just go to our view. We'll just try to design small elements there. So I'm going to get rid of all these things. Blob container. And here we need to show our blob container name. So container name. So it actually shows the container name, and after that I just want to see all the blobs under this particular container. So for that I'm just using a table object. Within the table object, I'm just trying to have um, a for each loop. Where I'm just trying to deal with view bag dot blobs. So let's just complete this td. So I just want to show item dot. We'll just get all the information from here. Just try to peek into this. So it actually returning an enumerable of list blob item. So we'll just get this storage URI information dot. I want even specific information where I just want to show the URI, that's it. So primary URI. So this is what the information that I want to show there. So let's just surround this particular item with an anchor tag. So this is basically a URL. So and we display the same item as the title for this. So let's just run this application. We'll try to run with an IIS Express. So you see our blob container name has been listed here, but we don't see any list of blocks that are there within this particular blob container. So I think we don't have any specific blob items under this container. I think we don't have any blobs. So, but we need to show some information here to the user. So for that, I'm just trying to have a condition here. So let's just wrap this up and I'm just going to have an else condition. So where I'm just want to display message stating no blobs associated with this container. Let's just run this thing again. So you see we got a message, so it's kind of a meaningful one right now. So let's just have one more thing, list of blobs. So we just got a basic structure where we are just trying to display the container name and where we are just trying to display all the blobs under this particular container. So as we don't have any blobs, so we need to create certain blobs. For that we are just going to design our UA, so that I just want to include an upload controller, upload control, so that I can just upload certain objects from my system to store the data in Azure storage account. So for that we'll just have a small UI created. So I'm just have creating small breaks, and after that I'm just going to deal with a form tree. So within that, let's just get rid of all these things. So I'm just going to create an ASP action. So we are going to have an action upload files as an action, and the controller will be our home controller. So I'm just trying to go with my home controller. Let's just and what is the kind of method that I want to deal with? It's kind of a post method. So and we are going to deal with the kind of data that we are dealing with. It is form data, so we need to capture the form information, and within that I'm just going to have an input type as file, and I'm just naming it as files, and I don't want to have any value for here, and I just want to allow this particular thing to hold multiple files also. So let's just have one more break here, and we are just trying to create one button, type submit, and we'll deal with the name. So upload files to storage. So this is a simple screen where we are trying to have a upload control and where we are trying to have a button. We'll just stop this. Now we'll go to home controller. So we'll have one MVC action. It actually creates one MVC namespace, so we don't want to have that. So upload files, and this one will be HTTP post. So we are just trying to create a small MVC action, which is upload files, which we have used the same thing there. So I just want to make this particular thing as an async, so that as we are trying to deal with an upload also, which is kind of an asynchronous task. So I'm just going to return a task of action result within that. So in .NET Core we got one more beautiful interface, which is iForm file, which actually identifies the complete information about that form. So we'll just include this. I'm just making it as files. So if you see here, this particular thing represents a file sent with the HTTP request. So whatever the file that we are trying to post from our UI, so this will be identified with the help of iForm file. We are just trying to identify that particular file data. So we are just going to have one local variable which holds a size of that particular object, and we are trying to wrap all these things in a try catch. So first thing we are going to deal with is fetching up all the information. So item of files, so we just got all the files. So now we need to deal with the file information. Let's just name it file. So we are now trying to get the header values. Content disposition header value. So we'll just try to resolve this. So it is under headers dot parse of whatever the file dot, and we are dealing with the content disposition, so we are just specifying that value. So dot, and we need to get the file name, and dot, and we are trying to trim empty spaces. Now we got our file name information, so now we need to deal with a cloud block blob, and we are just creating an object for that blob. So we are going to hit the container again, and here we are just trying to get the blob reference. So get blob reference. It actually takes the blob name. So here our blob name is the file name. So we are going to store the um, blob information with respect to this file name. Now we are trying to fetch a stream. So file dot open stream, open read stream. So I'm just trying to create a stream object. So whatever the file information that I have will be converted into a stream, so that I can just pass that particular stream to the specific method. So we need to deal with, so we'll be getting the length of that particular file. And so blob dot upload. So we have a different methods where on using those things we can just send the file from client to Azure storage account. So we have from byte array async, from file, and we got a specific synchronous methods and asynchronous methods. So now we are trying to deal with the stream, so I'm just going to use from stream async, and we'll be passing the stream as a source. So I'm just passing this value stream, and once that is done we are trying to show a message. So viewback dot message, or else we'll just get rid of this message right now. So after that I just want to list down all the blobs, and once this is done, so we are trying to deal with, I want to redirect back to index. So as we need to even deal with exceptions also, so we'll just try to um, get the information. So status code, so http status code dot, we'll just make it as a bad request, and we are trying to return a small message where I'm just trying to return a JSON. Upload failed, please try again. So now we got the information. So now we'll just run the application. So we are good at our code. The first thing we'll see is our container name and the list of all blobs under that particular container, and we'll see an upload control and a submit button there. So this is the information. So we don't have any blobs associated right now. So we'll just click on choose files, and let's just go. I'm just trying to upload this. So you see our blob got updated here. We'll just check here. We'll just refresh. So you can see our file, whatever the file that we have submitted from the client, has been shown here also. So we'll just try to deal with one more type. So now I'm just going to deal with a zip. So you can just even see, so we are trying to upload multiple different types of file information which we are storing in our blob storage within our storage account. So you can see this information. So as we just made this particular thing as an hyperlink, so if you just tap on that, it actually downloads our file. So this is how we can just work with Azure storage account and create a container and upload some blobs. So hope you liked it. If you have any comments or queries, you can just shoot an email to guntidirajkumar@hotmail.com, or else you can just tweet me at I am Dheeraj G.